Windows Server Firewall. Opening Windows Firewall with advanced security. To begin managing the Windows Server Firewall, open Server Manager from the taskbar. Click on Tools in the top menu and select Windows Firewall with advanced security from the drop-down list. Alternatively, press Windows key plus R to open the Run dialog box, type wf.msc, and press Enter. This launches the Windows Firewall with Advanced Security console directly. The console provides a comprehensive view of firewall rules and settings. The Overview section shows the firewall status for each profile. The Inbound Rules section lists all rules controlling incoming traffic. The Outbound Rules section lists all rules controlling outgoing traffic. The Connection Security Rules section manages IPsec authentication settings. The Monitoring section displays active firewall connections and logging. Viewing and understanding firewall profiles. In the Overview section of the console, you can see the 3 network location profiles. The domain profile applies when the server is connected to a domain network. The private profile applies when the server is connected to a trusted private network. The public profile applies when the server is connected to public networks and is the most restrictive profile. Each profile shows its current status, including whether the firewall is on or off, and whether inbound and outbound connections are blocked or allowed. Understanding these profiles is important because a server might be connected to different networks at different times, and the firewall should adapt its behavior accordingly. The public profile provides the highest level of protection for untrusted networks. Enabling the firewall on all profiles. To enable the firewall on all profiles, right-click on Windows Firewall with Advanced Security in the left pane and select Properties. This opens the Properties dialog with tabs for each profile. Click on the Domain Profile tab. Under State, change Firewall State to On. Click on the Private Profile tab and set Firewall State to On. Click on the Public Profile tab and set Firewall State to On. Click OK to apply the changes. Enabling the firewall on all profiles ensures consistent protection regardless of the network your server is connected to. It is recommended to keep the firewall enabled at all times for production servers. Creating an inbound rule to allow remote desktop. Inbound rules control traffic coming into the server from other computers. To create an inbound rule allowing remote desktop, click on Inbound Rules in the left pane. In the right pane, click New Rule. The new Inbound Rule wizard appears. Select Port and click Next. Select TCP and enter 3389 in specific local ports. Click Next. Select Allow the connection and click Next. Select all 3 profiles: domain, private, and public to ensure the rule applies regardless of the network. Click Next. Enter the name as Allow RDP and add a description like allows remote desktop connections. Click Finish. Remote desktop uses TCP port 3389. Allowing this port enables administrators to manage the server remotely. Creating an inbound rule to allow web traffic. To allow web traffic to a web server, click on Inbound Rules in the left pane. In the right pane, click New Rule. Select Port and click Next. Select TCP and enter 80,443 in specific local ports. Click Next. Select Allow the connection and click Next. Select all 3 profiles and click Next. Enter the name as Allow Web Traffic and add a description like allows HTTP and HTTPS connections. Click Finish. HTTP uses port 80 and HTTPS uses port 443. Allowing these ports enables the server to function as a web server. Creating an inbound rule to allow SQL Server. To allow SQL Server connections, click on Inbound Rules in the left pane. In the right pane, click New Rule. Select Port and click Next. Select TCP and enter 1433 in specific local ports. Click Next. Select Allow the connection and click Next. Select all 3 profiles and click Next. Enter the name as Allow SQL Server and add a description like Allow SQL Server connections. Click Finish. SQL Server uses TCP port 1433 by default. Allowing this port enables database clients to connect to the server. Creating an inbound rule to allow DNS. To allow DNS traffic, click on Inbound Rules in the left pane. In the right pane, click New Rule. Select Port and click Next. Select UDP and enter 53 in specific local ports. Click Next. Select Allow the connection and click Next. Select all three profiles and click Next. Enter the name as Allow DNS and add a description like Allows DNS queries. Click Finish. You also need to create a TCP rule for DNS zone transfers. Click New Rule again, select Port, choose TCP, enter 53, and complete the wizard with a name like Allow DNS TCP. Creating a rule to block a specific IP address. To block traffic from a specific IP address, click on Inbound Rules in the left pane. In the right pane, click New Rule. Select Custom and click Next. Select all programs and click Next. Select any protocol type and click Next. Under which remote IP addresses, select these IP addresses. Click Add and enter the IP address you want to block. Click OK and click Next. Select Block the connection and click Next. Select all profiles and click Next. Enter the name as Block Malicious IP and click Finish. Blocking specific IP addresses is an effective way to stop attacks from known malicious sources. Creating an outbound rule. Outbound rules control traffic leaving the server. To create an outbound rule, click on Outbound Rules in the left pane. In the right pane, click New Rule. Select Port and click Next. Select TCP and enter 443 in specific local ports. Click Next. Select Block the connection and click Next. Select all profiles and click Next. Enter the name as Block Outbound HTTPS and click Finish. Blocking outbound HTTPS traffic prevents the server from initiating secure web connections. This might be useful for servers that should not access the internet. Creating a rule to allow ICMP ping. ICMP ping is used for network troubleshooting. To allow ICMP traffic, click on Inbound Rules and click New Rule. Select Custom and click Next. Select all programs and click Next. Select ICMP-v4 from the protocol type drop-down. Click Next. Select Allow the connection and click Next. Select all profiles and click Next. Enter the name as Allow ICMP ping and click Finish. Allowing ICMP ping helps administrators test connectivity. However, be aware that ICMP can also be used for network reconnaissance. Creating a rule with IP address restrictions. For enhanced security, restrict rules to specific IP addresses. Click on Inbound Rules and click New Rule. Select Port and click Next. Select TCP and enter the port number. Click Next. Select Allow the connection and click Next. Under which remote IP addresses, select these IP addresses. Click Add and enter the allowed IP addresses. Click OK and click Next. Select Profiles and click Next. Enter name and description and click Finish. Restricting access to specific IP addresses significantly reduces the attack surface. Enabling firewall logging. Firewall logging captures information about network traffic. To enable logging, right-click on Windows Firewall with Advanced Security in the left pane and select Properties. Click on the Domain Profile tab. Under Logging, click Customize. Set log dropped packets to Yes. Set log successful connections to Yes. Enter the log file path or keep the default. Click OK twice. Repeat this process for the private and public profiles if needed. Logging helps identify blocked traffic, troubleshoot connectivity issues, and detect security threats. Viewing firewall logs. To view firewall logs, Open File Explorer and navigate to c:/Windows/System32/log files/firewall. Open the firewall.log file with Notepad. Review the log entries. Look for drop entries which indicate blocked traffic, and allow entries which indicate allowed traffic. The logs include timestamps, source and destination IP addresses, ports, and protocols. Log analysis helps identify unauthorized access attempts and configuration issues. Disabling the firewall on a specific profile. There may be situations where you need to temporarily disable the firewall. To disable the firewall on a specific profile, right-click on Windows Firewall with Advanced Security and select Properties. Click on the Public Profile tab. Under State, change Firewall state to Off. Click OK. Warning: only disable the firewall on non-production or test environments. Disabling the firewall removes protection against unauthorized access. Production servers should always have the firewall enabled. Deleting a firewall rule. To delete a rule, click on Inbound Rules or Outbound Rules in the left pane. Find the rule you want to delete. Right-click on the rule and select Delete. Click Yes to confirm. Deleting outdated rules reduces complexity and improves performance. Always verify the purpose of a rule before deleting it. Disabling a firewall rule. To temporarily disable a rule without deleting it, right-click on the rule and select Disable Rule. The rule remains in the list but no longer applies. To re-enable, right-click and select Enable Rule. Disabling rules is useful during troubleshooting or when temporarily allowing traffic. Viewing rule properties. To view detailed properties of a rule, double-click on the rule. This opens the Properties dialog. The General tab shows the rule name, description, and whether it is enabled. The Programs and Services tab shows which programs the rule applies to. The Users tab shows which users are affected. The Protocols and Ports tab shows the protocol and port settings. The Scope tab shows local and remote IP address settings. The Advanced tab shows which profiles the rule applies to. Understanding rule properties is essential for effective firewall management. Changing rule properties. To modify a rule, double-click on the rule to open Properties. Make the desired changes and click OK. Common changes include updating port numbers, adding or removing IP addresses, or changing profiles. Always verify that changes do not break legitimate services. Exporting firewall rules. To create a backup of firewall rules, right-click on Windows Firewall with Advanced Security in the left pane and select Export Policy. Choose a location and file name for the backup file. Click Save. Exporting rules is useful for backing up configurations and deploying standard rule sets across multiple servers. Importing firewall rules. To restore firewall rules, right-click on Windows Firewall with Advanced Security in the left pane and select Import Policy. Select the backup file and click Open. Warning: importing rules replaces all existing rules. Importing is useful for recovering from configuration errors or applying standard policies. Restoring default policy. To restore the firewall to default settings, right-click on Windows Firewall with Advanced Security and select Restore Default Policy. Click Yes to confirm. All custom rules are removed and the firewall returns to default settings. Warning: this removes all custom configurations. Use only when necessary. Viewing connection security rules. Connection security rules manage IPsec authentication settings. Click on Connection security rules in the left pane. These rules control how computers authenticate and encrypt traffic. They are used for securing communications between servers. The Monitoring section displays active firewall connections. Click on Monitoring to view current connections and firewall status. Firewall best practices. Always enable the firewall on all server profiles. Use the principle of least privilege for firewall rules. Block all inbound traffic by default and allow only necessary services. Create specific rules for each required service rather than broad rules. Use IP addresses to restrict access where possible. Document all firewall rules and their purposes. Regularly audit firewall rules to remove outdated entries. Test firewall changes in a lab environment before production deployment. Monitor firewall logs for suspicious activity. CASNA Revision Summary. What is the purpose of Windows Server Firewall? Filtering network traffic to protect servers. How many